So I just got iPads. I'm Jennifer Spade, and I'm from Ashland, Kentucky, and I teach at Paul G. Blazer High School. I've been there for almost, I think this is my 13th year. And one of the things that I have really been trying to push in my classroom is technology. So within the first year at Blazer, I was given a Mac lab, which was awesome. It was through DataSeam, and I really became very technologically oriented in my classroom, became very dependent on it. And sadly, the Macs were not sustained. So they weren't, over time, they've just kind of fallen off, and I'm losing my technology. And so I teach Photoshop, I teach Illustrator, I teach my kids with graphic design. So I needed a format in which to do this. I also teach photography. It's very interesting teaching photography without cameras and on a phone, but I do it, so I make it work. But a lot of the kids, there's a lot of kids that don't have a phone. I do have some point and clicks. I'm looking for a more streamlined way to incorporate this in my classroom. So I begged KVEC for some iPads, and they obliged, and I'm very thrilled to be here and presenting about this because I am super excited about the direction I'm going to go in with this. It's going to take my classroom to a whole new level. And I have let's see, I got to go through the steps here, so I don't want to get ahead of myself, and I'm nervous like everybody else. I want to make sure I don't leave anything out. So the problem is lack of technology, and that's a problem. I know this firsthand because I see it every day, and trying to teach without cameras is one of the biggest issues. So now another problem that we struggle with in an art classroom specifically is creative thinking. Creative thinking is one of the most important skills that students need today. And it's something that's really not taught in every other class. How do you teach them to solve problems open-endedly? How do they learn to think for themselves without following a specific formula to arrive at an answer? And I see them struggling with this. So I really try to incorporate more creative thinking in my classroom as well to get them to be more current in being able to solve problems. So this is another realm where technology comes in to play as well. So some of my students are not artistically talented, have art ones, and they're struggling to be in there, and they feel that inadequate that they can't draw, and they're comparing themselves to others. And I don't want them to feel bad about it. I want them to find something they can do to embrace and grow some form artistically. And so a lot of times that is photography. And so the iPad also will double as a camera, it will double as a photo manipulation tool, plus a drawing tool. It's going to hit all those boxes and make learning even more important for the technological component. So after I lost my iPads, I needed to find a way to deliver instruction on a unified platform. I have some kids use Android phones, I have others with Apple iPhones, and it's kind of hard to say, okay, we need to take it into this and manipulate this and do something with it. And so I needed a more streamlined way to do that. So the iPads are going to enable that, which is great. It also is going to help them with drawing in that they can take more risks in their drawing, because drawing is intimidating for a lot of people. So when they start to draw and they don't like it, instead of starting over with a new sheet of paper, which I get 18 times a day, can I need to start over now? It's like they can just undo their last action on a digital device. And don't we wish life had that for us as well? Just an undo button is all I need sometimes. So undo your last action. It gives them more freedom to take more risks, to take more ownership in their learning, and it's going to really, I think, push them tremendously in new directions that I haven't even thought about yet. So I'm going to make this successful because my students are going to, already creating without the technology. And so how I'm going to assess this is they're going to have their pre-assessment projects or pre-technology projects, and then we're going to implement the technological components, learning how to manipulate photographs, learning how to take photographs, learning how to draw, things like that, and then combining all of those things together. So one of the things that I'm super excited about is to implement GIF making. And if you're not familiar with GIFs, it's the movement that you see on the internet. I think the first one in history was the Netscape browser, and it had that little motion on there, and everybody was like, wow, that's so neat, there's movement online. And so that is a big component in the way the art is moving, and students need to be able, if they're going into a digital career, they need to understand movement as part of it. So my students will be creating GIFs as well with the iPads. And one of the things that I do with them to ensure that they're comprehending, they're getting what I know they're getting it, is they have to write a statement. So every project that they do will be uploaded to a website called Artsonia, and then they have a written artist statement that they produce that tells me what they focused on, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. And I'm always amazed that they're very truthful. And so that more than I would give them a lot more credit than, and they're like, no, I didn't try. I'm like, wow, you did really good. But anyway, that just cracks me up. So anyway, I've seen how technology can really enhance students' lives. And I'll tell you this story about one of my kids. She was an AP art student. She couldn't draw at all. Like, I was literally scared. How is she going to pass this class? How is she going to do this? She's literally no talent, no ability whatsoever. And she found photography, and photography changed her life. I brought in an underwater camera, and we happened to have a pool at that time. We no longer have it, but we went into the swimming pool. She went underwater and took underwater photographs that won her awards and scored her a 4 on her AP exam, and I was super proud. And it set her on a course, and she's now a teacher, so it's awesome to see how that technological component really changed her life for the better and helped her achieve something that she otherwise could not. So I hope I answered all the things that I was supposed to, and if you have questions for me, I welcome them.